So there is a lot of things that Emily in Paris got wrong, and the internet, as it does so well, has made that crystal clear. But instead of adding on to that, I wanted to take it in a different direction for this review. I'm very much a glass is half full person, and so I wanted to focus on the positive, focus on the good things. And so these are the 10 things that Emily in Paris got right from a fellow American expat who has lived in Paris for just over a month now. Hello beautiful people, my name is Savannah, but on the internet I go by Savvy C, and welcome to the Savvy C Scoop, a place where I talk about all things books, lifestyle, and travel. Over a month ago, I did one of the craziest things to date in my life. I moved to Paris, France alone in the middle of a global pandemic, and it has been also one of the best decisions I've ever made. I've been loving every moment here. It's really a dream come true, and it's really funny and ironic that as I was preparing to leave for Paris, I was packing up, taking my COVID test, getting all my shots, everything together. The trailer for this show dropped, and so my friends were like, "Oh my gosh, like, Sophia, this is gonna be you. Like, you have to watch it. Like, when you get to Paris, it'll be perfect. You can watch the show, blah blah blah." And now here it is. Emily in Paris, for those who don't know, is a Netflix original show surrounding the life of Emily Cooper. She is about 23, 24. She's a marketing manager, works in a marketing firm in Chicago. Her boss is giving the opportunity to work in the Parisian office, turns it down because she has a baby, which for me, I was like, girl, what? If I'm pregnant, me and the baby, we going. But anyways, the boss turns it down, thus Emily is next in line, takes the job offer, and, goes bon voyage and arrives in Paris. And so we see throughout the course of 10 episodes, her first day, and then how she, survives and what she gets into and just the life she lives in Paris. It was perfect for me too, and all my friends kept joking. We have the same last name, Emily Cooper, Savannah Cooper. That's what the C in Savvy C stands for. And so, we kind of, we family. She a cousin, a little bit. She's on like Uncle Bradley and Uncle Anderson's side. You know what I'm saying? But still family nonetheless. And everyone was really coming for my girl. Everyone was, and there's reasons why they have. A foundation I felt like to stand on for the critiques, for the stereotypes. But there are some things that the show got right that I feel like the show did Paris justice for. And so here are my little notes, and we're going to get into the 10 things that Emily in Paris got right. First up, the initial culture shocks an American who isn't too familiar with French culture will get. So for me, I was a French minor in college. I went to Baylor University, woo-woo, sick 'em. And so I had a fairly good idea, fairly strong understanding of French culture. But for someone like Emily who did Rosetta Stone on the plane, I was like, girl, what? Just pulled up and was like, I'm here, let's do this. She really had no idea. So things like dates, how in the States it's month, day, year. In France, it's day, month, year. For flooring, it doesn't start on number 1, it starts on 0. And then floors also go negative. So, instead of, I don't know, what do we even say in the States? I guess just basement or ground floor, ground floor, lobby, first floor. In France, in Paris, it'll be -1, -2. So it'd be -1, 0, 1. So, common things like that she came across early on and just had to learn as she goes. But that is pretty common for those. Into the stairs, of her having to go up all those stairs versus, being accustomed to an elevator. France, Europe is, an older country. The US is very much a newer country, and our teen, adolescence, if you will, versus the surrounding world has been around the block for a bit. So those were key culture shocks, and I'm glad that the show was able to explain those for those who are also looking into moving to Paris. Next, people come to Paris from all over the world. I recently learned about 2-3 weeks ago that Paris is the most visited city in the world, which now that I'm here and I can just picture that, when I see the Eiffel Tower going to school, or when I just walk around and seeing all these, you know, Moulin Rouge and Sacré-Cœur, Arc de Triomphe, like all these really famous sites, all these famous things, seeing the baguettes, you know, Paris Fashion Week happened a few weeks back, like just all these iconic things that are synonymous with the city brings so many people here. So it was cool that, you know, Emily was coming there from Chicago for work. Mindy was coming there. I don't know if she was coming from China or Korea. I think she was coming from China. But it was interesting because she mentioned Korea but never said anything again. So I think, yeah, coming from China, being there as an au pair, whatever. And, you know, everyone else, you know, it's pretty rare that someone is Parisian, is a native Parisian. It's just very much a mixing pot of cultures, mixing pot of people. And, you know, we all just share a dream or just share a likeliness of this city. And I think that's what makes the city so special and so vibrant. Of just like, you can pick out 10 people from the street, ask them where they're from, what they're here for, and you'll probably get a range of story, a myriad of stories. So I really loved how they illustrated that. Third point, the I really live in Paris moment, the pinch me moment. I think it was in the second or third episode, and she just opened her blinds one morning and just saw her view and just really kind of, you know, a twinkle in her eyes. I can attest to that. That is very, very true. I still have moments. I have them about once a week, once every like 8 to 10 days, if you will, where I'll come out of a metro stop, or like I'll come out of a new place or walk around and I'll see the Eiffel Tower at night, or like I'll just walk out into, you know, Champs-Elysees, or just I'll have these moments. I'm just like, I really live here. I remember when my bank account opened, or when I got my French number, and it's just like, it just hits you in waves that you're really in Paris. Now, you're not just here as a tourist, you're not just here, you know, temporarily. At least for me, you know, I'm here for 2 years and at least, and so it just, you know, it's really a pinch yourself moment of just like, I really live here and this is home, and like, let's start making it home. So I loved how they pointed that out to her and they made that evident in the show. My fourth point is what Luca said, or not Luca or Luke? Oh, I forget his name. I think it's just Luke. What Luke said was a pretty significant quote that stuck out to me. You live to work, we work to live. So this idea that you he's referencing is Americans, Emily, and, you know, what she brings as, you know, the American perspective, versus the we are the French, and just overall I feel like Europeans as well, but for French specifically, of how this just the work culture here and the work-life balance in Paris and France is significantly just opposite ends of the spectrum from the States. Coming here, I'm getting my master's, like I've already said, and so I knew about that coming in, but I really wanted to implement it and embrace it. And now that I'm here, you really see it. There's like this point, I kind of joke with my friends, my stateside American friends here, about there's just this like 3 to 4 hour period, which I feel like is very crucial for restaurants to, like, you know, make money and get business during lunch hours, but they're just closed down. Like, businesses are just open either for like dinner or breakfast, but not lunchtime. You know, there's just several hours in the middle of the day where just life shuts down. People aren't working. You're just out about, either maybe, you know, enjoying life, being at home with your kids, being home with your family, taking a walk, whatever, but you're just not working 24/7, 365. And you know, very much in the States, it's like, I'll sleep when I'm dead type thing. Not at all here. And I liked how they used Luke to illustrate that point. And even though Emily was trying to force, you know, her like little manifesto, you know, code of conduct on them, they're like, no, girl, that's not how they do that. That's not how they roll in France. All right, number 5 is the locals will speak French to you unless proven otherwise. This has stayed true for me since day one, straight out the gate from the airport to the train station to me getting to my apartment where I am now. People have spoken French to me right off the gate, which makes sense. You know, you're in Paris, you're in France, and unless you, one, speak English to them first, or two, maybe give off a look or a vibe that clearly says, I'm not from here, I don't know any French, know anything about, you know, French culture, then they will speak French to you. I say take it as a compliment. I personally take it as like a compliment, or at least like a nice way of just me, you know, being immersed into the culture and being accepted in this culture that I'm not from, that I'm not native to. Because, you know, you are in Paris, you are in the capital of France, where French originated. You know, it's kind of hard for size. You can compare it to someone moving to New York, moving to DC, and then speaking to you in French while you're at Target, and you're just like, why is she speaking in French? It's like, no, you would speak the language there. So how she, even though, you know, again, my girl Emily was kind of struggling on the French department, taking Rosetta Zone on the way there, she, you know, was able to see how people, you know, spoke French to you. And I say, you know, with that, just learn some basic phrases before you get here if you're thinking about it. Practice, get, you know, the basic phrases down, directions, hi, my name is, where is this, etc. Just basic things like that, so that when you're out and about, you can, you know, survive. And two, which leads me to my next point, and another great way to learn a language, brings me to point number 6, which is get you little boo things. So this is a pretty universal advice that I've been given personally, of just like when it comes to learning a foreign language. 1, immersion, that's the biggest thing, and 2, getting someone you can speak the language with on a daily basis. And, you know, mix love in there, you know, throw a little love in there, throw a little romance in there, and you get the perfect combination. So even though it was kind of a running joke throughout the show in the early part of the season, I mean, you should get a French boyfriend, you should get a French boyfriend. You could really get a significant other here, and then you just practice that French every day, or whatever other language every day. And, you know, before you know it, you messed around, you little C2, you kind of conversationally fluent. So I thought that was an interesting point. I'm glad they pointed that out. And while on the topic of boo things, French men being straightforward is my 7th point. So again, I can only speak for myself, but my first week here, week and a half, 2 weeks in, I was having men, I mean, not like, it was only 2 guys. I've only had 2 instances of this, but like come up to me and like start a conversation out of thin air, asking like, you know, where I'm from, like, I can tell you're beautiful even with the mask on, like, well, like all this stuff, like just, and then asking me out, saying what I'm doing later, blah, blah, blah. So Frenchmen being straightforward. I wouldn't say as straightforward as in the show of just saying like, you, me, let's go, you know, back in my car or whatever, my crib, whatever, but very straightforward in the sense of like not as shy. I feel like guys in the States are more like, they'll kind of maybe catcall you or like look at you, but won't like come up and try to strike a conversation, unlike Frenchmen that will and don't really, you know, kind of hold back. Which, yeah, whatever. You gotta just say la vie, go with the flow. Point number 8, the visual aesthetics based culture that the French and Parisians appreciate. Working at a marketing firm as Emily does, her expertise is rooted in her Americanness and her Chicago upbringing, even though she's from the suburbs. And a lot of my friends who are from Chicago, the city versus the suburbs is like 2 different things. But anyway, it's not relevant. Bringing that, you know, Americanness to her. And it's funny because you talk about this in class. The French marketing advertisement system, right? Industry, not system, is rooted in visual imagery. A lot of aesthetics are really key here, I've noticed. Walking, you know, when you go through metro stations, when you're going on the bus, just walking around, you just see advertisement and ads that are very visually pleasing. And just, I feel like the city was very curated and crafted by Haussmann, by Napoleon and the Second Empire, like just really curated and crafted. So the aesthetics to the French, to the Parisians, are very important. I feel like it's very much a image-driven culture and city, and that translates into ads. Versus in the US, we're very, like, not, how do I say this? We're more like word-driven, slogan-driven. So it's like, yes, the visual is important, obviously, but we're more gonna remember, like, you know, slogans and like you know, the Budweiser, what's up? Like things like that, just like little key taglines and things we can sing and hear over and over and over in our heads. Like we're more slogan driven versus the French are more visual driven. So they do talk about that, but then Emily kind of goes against it with her American point of view. So, but there is validity to that. And we talked about that in my global communications class about how, you know, the French are more visually driven versus the Americans were more, buy it now. What would you do for a Klondike bar? That was terrible, but you know what I mean. Point number 9. My girl was running. The French are very active here. You have to watch out for your bikers and your runners. Around, I want to say not every morning, but pretty frequently in the show at least, she was running through, various monuments. She lives in the 5th, but that was kind of confusing because she would live in the 5th, but then go to Palais Royal at the time. I don't know. She was running through, Al de la Cité and all the other places, but it's very common to see a lot of runners here, a lot of bikers that you kind of watch out for. It can be a little aggressive. There's a lot of biker lanes, especially now with the pandemic. A lot of streets have either been shut down or the bike lane has been extended, so there's less circulation of people and just more embracing. I don't know if that's the right word. That's probably not the right word. Inclusion. There you go. We'll use that word. Inclusion of bikers. There's, the belief system, which, offers city bikes to everyone, and everywhere. So just that is another great point that the show brought up indirectly. And I thought it was good to share, and great too for just another way of seeing the city, learning the city, walking it, biking it, running it is a great way to explore Paris and learn what you might be missing if you're taking the metro or RER. And last, but certainly not least, my 10th points. If you're still here, appreciate you. The smoking culture is real. So it was so funny, as I was leaving the States, getting my, vaccinations and my flu shots, taking my COVID test, etc. I had to go to the hospital or the doctors 5 times in my last 2 weeks of being in the States. And each time I left, they'd be like, don't pick up smoking. Be sure not to pick up smoking. Don't do it. Don't pick up smoking. I'd be like, ha, whatever. That's just stereotype. No, it's kind of rings true. But it is, and the show talks about this well and touches on this well, just a social thing. So it's not I gotta have it, addictive thing, shaking if they don't have it. But it's just a social gathering, When you walk by restaurants, you'll see ashtrays on all the tables. You'll just see, people saying, you'll see, it's so crazy too. I'll walk by a high school and see teenagers smoking outside, or just, people smoking, parents smoking with their kids around, whatever. It's not an abusive thing. It's just a cultural relaxation thing, just something you smoke with some friends outside in between classes or after work, before work, etc. Just how you just get drinks with someone, just how you have happy hour in the States. It's just that same mindset, but with smoking instead. And too, ironically, or at least from what I can see, no one seems to be coughing like crazy, or having heart disease and not heart disease, lung cancer. I don't think so, at least. I don't know. I mean, I just got here, but even though there is that presence of smoking and there is smoke here, so be mindful of that. If you do decide to move to Paris or are looking to move to Paris, there is going to be smoke in the air. Be mindful that you might walk by something, get a huge cloud, but it's not, holding them back. It's not, really making things go left. So I don't know if that made sense, but it's just it's just a part of the culture, just a social thing rather than an addictive gotta have it type thing. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Those are the 10 things that Netflix original show Emily in Paris got right. As I said earlier, there's a lot of things the show got wrong. Great stereotypes and just generalizations of the French, of Paris, which are unfortunate, but there were some things that she got right, or that the show got right, and I appreciate that nonetheless. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and let me know if you agree with any of these 10 points, what else, other good things maybe you pointed out that I didn't, things that I missed, any key details I might have missed. And yeah, just let me know. I want to keep the conversation going. As always, I'm sending my love to you wherever you are in the world where you're watching this. Mwah, mwah. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!